104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports, and the guy who used to call this home but now calls Denver home, 104.3 The Fan in Denver home. Zach By with us right now. Zach, your boy, Joe Cremo, just found out there's a lot more minutes available in Villanova. What is going to be the fallout with Dante DiVincenzo just saying, I'm going to go into the NBA?
Well, you know what? I think the reality is this was kind of the quote-unquote plan the whole time. If Jay Wright didn't believe that Dante DiVincenzo was legitimately leaving and was going to keep his name in, I don't think he would have pursued Cremo the way that he did. And when I spoke to him, Coach Wright, that is, he said that you don't understand what type of competitor DiVincenzo is. So the thought that he would go this far into the process and then come back out, he said it's just not that kid's character. He's staying in. Doesn't matter if he goes at the end of the first or early in the second. It's going to be one of those two. He's not going to come back. So, we kind of had an idea that this was going to be the case. And look, if DiVincenzo did come back, Cremo would still have an opportunity to start, but may have come off the bench as the first guard off the bench, which still would have been a great scenario because Villanova, would have retained a terrific player, and they would have, just been a terrific team. And not that they still can't be, because they will be. But there really wasn't a wrong answer here. But now that we know officially that DiVincenzo's not coming back, I am fully expecting Joe Cremo to go in there and earn a starting role. I really am. I think it's more likely than not that Joe Cremo will be starting for Villanova in the very first game of the season. I mean, that's what I'm expecting. And I think that from Villanova's perspective, if Joe comes in and does what they expect him to do, I think that's what they're expecting as well. So I think everyone's on the same page. But the bottom line is, guys, Joe's going to have to go in and play well. If Joe falls on his face, then he's not going to play a whole lot. Is anyone expecting that? Absolutely not. So, but he still has to go in and play well because it's Villanova and there's no freebies.
Zach By with us right now, and of course Zach, a close friend, confidant of Joe Cremo. I was kind of I might have been the only one. I was kind of excited for the dynamic of DiVincenzo crashing the hoop and kicking out to an open Joe Cremo for easy baskets. I kind of feel like Joe's going to be put in a way tougher role now.
Well, more is going to be expected of him. I mean, point blank. I mean, Joe is. Well, let me just relay what was said to me about a month ago by one of the top assistants at Villanova, Kyle Neptune. He said, "Look, we're not recruiting Joe to come in here and average 6 points a game. That's not why we're recruiting him. They're going to ask a good amount of Joe to produce. So, Joe is going to be put in more of a maybe strenuous situation where there's real expectations. Look, guys, Joe Cremo was the #1 grad transfer in the country as a guard, #1.
That's awesome.
So he's going into the situation with the expectations that he's got to be the best version of himself. Does that mean going in and average 10 points a game, double figures? Does it mean 13 points a game? Does it mean 14 points a game? I'm not sure. However, it's going to work out. But you can be sure that it's not like Joe's plate is going to be sparse. I mean, there's going to be a good amount of expectation on that plate, and I expect that kid to deliver because that's what he's always done.
And to those expectations, is that what attracted Joe to Villanova, being in that spotlight?
Yeah, I mean, and how could it not, right? I mean, how could it not? We're talking about a program that, has won 2 out of the 3 last national championships, is established as a legitimate blue blood in college basketball. I mean, how could you not be, drawn to that, allure of this prestigious program led by Jay Wright, and also, being some part of that Villanova family after the fact, so of course, and, if Joe wanted to put up the most amount of points in the Big East Conference, he could have gone to Creighton. Okay, Creighton was the 7th fastest pace of play in the nation this past year. They play in front of 18,000 people. They're in the Big East. North Carolina's coming in there. They got 12 national TV games, and he could have gone to Creighton and averaged 17 points a night in the Big East. I really believe that. They really believe that, Creighton, I mean. But he's choosing Villanova over a situation like that because the kid wants to win, and he wants to do it on the highest level and the biggest stage. And Villanova offers that, whereas a school like Creighton, while it might have made the most sense for him from a personal standpoint, it just didn't quite reach that tier of, where Villanova stands in the college basketball hierarchy, which is all the way at the very top.
Zach By with us right now, 104.5 The Team. Of course, Zach, one of our favorite guys from the Cap region, now out at 104.3 The Fan in Denver, rocking it with Stokely, Brandon Stokely, little name dropper that you are. Now, the Dante DiVincenzo story opens a door for Joe Cremo. Kevin Huerter kicking a door open for himself. News out, he's staying in the NBA draft.
Yeah, staying in the NBA draft, which is something that I totally expected. I would have been absolutely blown away, shocked if Kevin went back to school. I was expecting Kevin to play in the NBA for a while now, and since no one else will do it for me, I'll be the first to pat myself on the back and say I was the first guy in the Capital Region that suggested Kevin Huerter was going to play in the NBA, and that was his junior year in high school when I realized that this kid wasn't stopping growing, and he was going to be a 6'6", 6'7" point guard that can knock down shots. He and I'm stealing this from my buddy Steve D'Agostino, who's his trainer, who said, Kevin Huerter might be the best passer in the draft, the most underrated passer in this draft. His basketball acumen is on the highest level, and I'm not shocked at all. I knew it was a done deal last week when he popped at the Combine, and they had these scrimmages at the Combine, and it was two guys that were a consensus pop, that had their name in and could pull their name out, and that just so happened to be Dante DiVincenzo and Kevin Huerter. As ironic as it turned out, but I saw how well he tested. Kevin can play in the league right now. He can play right now. There are guys that he's better than in the NBA right now. And again, I'll borrow a phrase from my buddy Dags, who's actually in Colorado with me right now for the under-18 USA team. Joe Girard will be down in Colorado Springs, so we're going to go down there and check it out. But he said that look, what does Nick Young do for the Warriors that Kevin Huerter can't do? I mean, Nick Young comes off the bench and will play 14 minutes a night. Kevin Huerter is just as good of a shooter as Nick Young is. He's a better defender, and he's much of a better passer. And
he wouldn't lose Ziggy Azalea. He would keep her. So
right. So I mean, Kevin, and I can also tell you, Kevin is keeping his name in because he has first-round guarantees. Mm-hmm. So just let that sink in, that Kevin Huerter from Shenandoah High School, Clifton Park, has first-round guarantees, plural. So he's not coming out of the first round. You can look for, I'll give you three teams to keep an eye on with him in particular, is the Utah Jazz, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. For my money, at the end of the day, I think he ends up at one of those three teams, but someone else may fall in love with him as well. So he's got a bright future, man. He really does.
Just that reference to Nick Young, I just think about like Swaggy P, Swaggy K, and if there's actually like two different people, actually like personality-wise, Kevin Huerter versus Nick Young, that thought in my head is ridiculous. But I got to ask you this, Zach, about Kevin Huerter and his team, the Maryland Terrapins. Are you surprised that although Maryland maybe didn't reach expectations when he was there as a player, that didn't at all affect his draft stock?
Well, it's interesting because the NBA is such a different game. I mean, like, you watch an NBA offense, it couldn't be further or more different than what you saw at Maryland. So I'm not shocked at all that Maryland's lack of team success or anything like that didn't affect Kevin, because this is the definition of apples and oranges. And if you have a skill set the way that Kevin does, and can, it sounds simple, but if you can pass, dribble, and shoot at a high level, doesn't matter where you play. You know what I mean? Really, I mean, Scottie Pippen came from Southern like Arkansas State. Like it doesn't matter if you can play, and they think it'll translate. And then when you see it tested in the NBA style scrimmages at the combine, you're like, oh, okay, like I've seen enough. I'm not going to let Mark Turgeon's absolutely horrific offense at Maryland dictate whether I take this kid in the draft.
Zach By, of course, we love you from your time here as well as at the College of St. Rose, 104.3 The Fan in Denver. If you miss the guy as much as we do, you can listen online. Zach, we appreciate your help. Your knowledge of the local hoop scene still very strong.
Man, I love it. Thank you guys, and I'll send you guys some pictures of Joe Girard down in Colorado Springs training with the USA men's team here in the next couple days. Looking forward to where he's going to end up as well. But yeah, still very much interested in the Section 2 hoop scene. That's my home. It's always going to be my home. So, and by the way, congrats to Coach Dimite from Scotia getting inducted to the Upstate New York Hall of Fame, as well as my former teammate Shea Bermersky from the College of St. Rose, both going in the Upstate New York Hall of Fame this past week. So congratulations to those guys as well. And thank you guys for having me on again. I always love coming on. I'm at your disposal whenever.
Thanks for not changing your number. We appreciate that.
See you, Zach. Take care, man.
518 is staying on the number
there
for
it
life.
is.
So.
All right, brother. Thanks so much, man. We miss you.
All right. See you guys.